Hello, everybody. Can't see me yet. How about now? That's the one. That's what we want. Hello, everyone. All who have been here before and newcomers. Welcome to another Create and Hang with your local neighborhood friendly fellow, possibly Unity developer, David. Here with the DAE. Gonna work on another project today. So I know that we finished our project last time. It was, what, a couple of weeks ago at this point. And I said that I wanted to start on something new, and as you can see on my screen, I've been messing around with a new tool called Bolt, which just came out recently for Unity specifically, made by Unity actually, and it's a tool that allows a developer to visually script and to write code basically the same way you would in C# as we were doing before, but using blocks, using nodes like the ones that you see on your screen right here. Super cool stuff, really fun to play around with, really great if you don't want to spend so much time learning C# because it does take a good amount of time to become a programmer, to think in the way that we do, logically, and understanding data structures and all that. I think Bolt makes things a lot easier. So I'm just messing around with a bunch of stuff in here. I'm going to make a new scene, obviously, and I'm going to show you guys sort of the run-of-the-mill, give you a basic rundown of how this tool Bolt works. You can find it in the asset store. You can just go in here, you can search up Bolt, and it should be the tool made by Unity. I believe it's only available for certain Unity versions. I am currently on what is this? Oh, this is 2019. I thought it was available for 2020. But I guess I was wrong, and I opened this up in 2019 instead. Okay, cool. We figured something new out today. Great. So like I say, I am going to make a new scene, and we are going to test these things out. I'm just going to call this Bolt Scene, because we are working in Bolt today. Yes, sir, madam, miss, or mister. Okay, cool. So first thing is first, let's make a couple of objects. What do we want to do? I don't know. Let's make kind of a first-person controller. Let's do something like that. So first thing I'm gonna need a cube. I hope everybody else is doing well. Everybody else, all of you guys are doing well. I haven't seen you in a while, and let us know how you're doing. If you have anything cool that you've been making recently, you can let me know. I'd be excited to hear about it for sure. I've been working with this tool mainly, just trying to understand it, getting used to the nooks and crannies, bells and whistles, all that. I'm just gonna make a floor. Gonna do nice and simple. Keep it nice and simple. And I'm gonna change the light to white. It's just a me thing. I'm probably gonna want to change the direction as well. I'll do that. Just make sure it's facing this way. Maybe make sure it's facing a bit more. That should be fine. Lovely. Yeah, that's the one. Cool. So let's get into the scripting. Let's make our player. Let's just make, like I say, a first-person controller. I'm just going to have this floor act as just that, our floor. And if you want to make your floor bigger, or if you want to do a third-person controller, you can certainly do that, and maybe take some of the code, the visual scripting nodes that I'm going to be working with, and just edit it, and what's the word? Modify. That's the word, not modulate. That's definitely not the word I'm looking for. I'm going to make a capsule, because that is typically what this floor is looking a bit thick. That's typically how we represent our first players and third players in the beginning stages of Unity. We love the capsule. Okay, cool. I'm going to add a rigid body as well. Rigid body. That's the one. And I want to freeze the rotation on everything except for the y-axis. That way he doesn't tip or fall over. So I would not want my little friend here to fall over immediately. Each object should come with a collider. Oh, yes, and then what we need to do is change the main camera position. Let's do that. Ooh, there we go. And it is back here. Let's see, where is our capsule facing? It is facing in the same direction, I believe. That is the Z for the capsule, and that is the Z, and that's the X. Okay, wonderful. Cool, so this should be pretty good then. We're just gonna move this camera towards the front of our player. Make sure it's kind of lined up here. I could just use these, I know, but don't sue me. Here we go. Let's do that. Let's bring this down here, and let's just take a look over here, see if everything's lined up properly. Lovely. Yes. Wonderful. And if we turn around, okay. And we'll bring it back around town to 0. Wonderful. Cool. Yeah, so this will be our first person camera. It looks kind of weird. What we have to do is we have to bring that camera in as a child. I'm just going to set the X all to 0. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Okay, yeah, right. Maybe I want to do this at 0.9 and then 0.78 just to keep things, I don't know, a bit cleaner. No, I don't like long decimals. It just bothers me. And you can hardly tell the difference anyway. Alright, cool. So we have our camera. Now, what we have to do, some objects in that. Nope, goodbye. What we have to do is we have to create a flow. Well, I'm not going to go in here, obviously. What we have to do is create what's called a flow graph or a flow machine, basically. So we can add a component here, and I'm just going to look in the, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go in the bolt section, and you'll notice we have a few things. We have variables, we have listeners, we have state machine. I'm going to make a flow machine. We're more often than not going to work with the flow machine. Flow machine is for the visual scripting for coding. State machine is more for, let's say, AI, or if you're working with different objects that might have different states. So let's say a door is either open, closed, or maybe destroyed, right? Or maybe you have some different objects that have different states at a certain time. So in this case, we just want to work with the code. We want to create sort of a flow, a scripting flow. So we are going to do that. We're going to make a new flow. New flow, I like the sound of that. And we'll go into assets, and I'm just going to move these in a new folder. Flows. Move that in there, go in here, and I'll make a new flow macro. Now I'm going to call this let's say move player. This is essentially like making a C# script, but we are going to be making it in blocks, and they have this little symbol here made for looking like a bunch of Legos being put together. So that's fun. If we open this up, we should open up the flow graph here. You'll see all of these different settings at the top. Not super important. Most of these are just more for debugging and for you to see certain things. So first thing that we want to do is we can right click anywhere in the screen here. We can take a look at the list of what we call units that we can add to our flow graph. This is known as a graph. So what I want to do first is I want to go to, I think it's Codebase, Unity Engine, possibly. No, you know what? It's under Control and then Lifecycle, I think. Or it's something under Lifecycle. I know it is here somewhere. Aha! Events, that's the one. Events and Update. So this is going to be our movement script. So we're going to be doing the same thing. We're going to be taking in our input from the axis and then adding some sort of a speed to our position, to our Z and our X position, depending on if we are moving left or right or using the up or down arrow keys. And then maybe we'll add a jump if we have time. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, first thing is first, this is our event, our update event node. And what we can do is this arrow here, I'm forgetting what it's called. I think it's the, I'm honestly forgetting the term. But this controls the flow of your code. So if you want some piece of code, if you want some certain blocks to happen first, then you can move this arrow to that group of blocks, and then each node typically has an enter and exit port. I guess a control port, that's what it's called, control port. So what do I want to do? Every update I want to change my transform, and you'll notice that when you download Bolt, it comes with a whole bunch of standard libraries, including the entire Unity engine assembly, which is very nice. So we're going to go down, down, down till her daddy takes her T-bird away. And we're going to find transform. That's how we spell transform. And I'm going to set my position. So I'm going to look for position. Should be under QRSTUV. That's not right. But yeah, P. That's the one. P. Okay, yeah. So we'll notice that each unit has an enter and exit port, control port. Again, it's just to control the flow. And then it also has input and output value ports. So what we can do is we can pass in, let's say, if we didn't want the self transform, if you wanted to set the transform of another object, then we can pass that in here. Currently, we don't really have any other objects that we're dealing with at the moment except for the player. And we can also set the actual value of the position, the X, Y, and the Z, in here manually, or we could pass in a vector 3 into this value port. So I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So we know that we're going to want to set the position every frame in update. And what do we want to set it to? Well, we want to make a couple of variables here. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to make this full screen. And we'll notice that we have this little sidebar here where we can make variables that only pertain to this graph. So what I want to do, I'm going to make a speed H. Maybe I'll make this a bit lower than speed Z, or maybe speed X. That would make more sense. Speed X, I can hit the plus. We always have to give it a name, and a variable can be null, but we eventually don't want it to be null. So we're just going to make it a variable cannot be null. No. We're going to make it a float, and we'll set it equal to, I don't know, 3. That sounds great. We're going to make another one, and we'll call it speed Z, right? So we know we want to move along the x-axis and along the z-axis. So I'm just going to make these right now. And I'll make this 5. Ooh, edgy. So we're going to be moving forward and backward a bit faster than left and right. Who knows, maybe we want to change it later. Well, that is the beauty of making your own game. You can do that whenever you want. So we have these two variables, and what I want to do is I want to add to the current transform x and z positions based on the input. So like I said, we can always add a unit, and let's see, I want to get the input this time. So I'm just going to search for input instead of having to go through that whole thing. I can just find the input, and then let's see, I want get axis name. Now you might wonder, don't you want to do this first? Yes, but it doesn't necessarily matter in this case, because what I mean to say is, do you want to bring this control port over to this port first and then set it in here? Yes, but it doesn't really matter, because technically this is going to be waiting for this value here in the end, so we're gonna have to run this anyway, so it won't matter too much. You can take multiple control ports and bring them into another entry control port, but no, like I said, we don't really have to do that. I'm sure there's some optimization in here. We'll start with horizontal. That some optimization that we can do, but for the time being, I think we'll be okay. So we want to get the horizontal axis, right? We're going to start off with the x, and I want to take this and multiply it by my speed x. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take that number. This is either going to give me some number between -1 and 1. That's what the get axis actually does. So if I'm pressing down on the left or right arrow or the A and D keys, it's going to give me a -1 or 1. If you're using a controller, the reason why you would use get axis here is because sometimes when you have like the left analog stick or right analog stick, you can shift them to be not all the way to the left, but you can get these little margins so that you can get numbers like 0.2 or 0.5 if you want to move a bit slower or a bit faster. Okay, so what I want to do is add another unit. I'm going to need to multiply two numbers together. I know I'm going to need to multiply this number by my variable. So I'm going to go in here, I'm going to add a unit and find one of my graph variables. I'm going to say get speed x. And I'm going to take this value, bring it on in here, take this value, bring it on in here. And this is our first math operation. So this is kind of a runaround when it comes to doing math, but it actually isn't too bad once you get used to it. So this is dim, as you'll notice, and that's because I have dim turned on right now. What this is saying is we have these nodes here, but they're not really doing anything, right? We at least have this one. This one is at least eventually going to be doing something. It's connected to the update event. These aren't really doing anything at the moment. We're not doing anything with the value. So what I want to do is I'm going to take this value and I'm going to add it to the transform position get x. So I'm just going to look for get x, and it should be in here somewhere. Over the rainbow. Nope. Okay, maybe I should do vector 3, and then there should be a vector 3 get, oh, x get, that's the one. Vector 3 x get. So what is that going to be? That is going to be, I'm going to get the x from my transform position. Why did I search transform? I wanted to get the position. Let's see, transform dot position get, that's the one. Cool. So I'm going to get the x. I'm probably also going to want to get the z as well, so might as well just do that. Honestly, I can duplicate this and I can just replace it with z get and vector z get. I can take this, I can get the x and the z from this one block over here, which is very nice. And then what I want to do, I want to take these two nodes and I'm going to eventually add them to these. Well, I need to make the other one of this as well, so I'm just going to take this whole thing. Whoopsie daisies. I'm going to take this whole thing, duplicate, selection. I'm going to bring it down here. Actually, I'm going to organize this a bit, and we'll see how we can organize our nodes a bit, make things a bit cleaner in the end with nesting. But for right now, I want to take my get x and I want to add it to this number, and then I also want to take my z get and I want to add it to this number. So I'm going to make two math generic addition. I'm going to add that. I'm going to make another one here, and I'm going to take these two and I'm just going to add them. So what I'm doing is I'm updating my z position and my x position, and then what I want to do is I want to make a new vector 3, xyz. This is quite easy to make. That's going to be the x, that's going to be the y, and yes, I need to get the y from this as well, don't I? Of course I do. Of course you do, David. This is going to be a y get, and that'll be lovely. Cool. Take that, get that, take that, bring that over here. Ooh, gotta love it. So now I have this new vector 3, right? And I'm going to take this and I'm just going to put it in here. So now what I'm doing is I'm updating my transform based on all of this math in here. Now, this is super yucky already. You see how many lines we have? You see how many blocks we have in here? Super yucky. I really don't like seeing this, only because as a programmer, you want to see everything efficient, you want to see everything organized, and eventually you can tell this is going to get really messy really quickly. So what we can do is we can take these kind of sections down here and we can what's called nest them. And it's equivalent to creating a function where it takes in input and gives out output, and it has its own block of code, and we can just use that code multiple times. Oh, this also should be, instead of horizontal, this should be vertical, and this should be, well, it doesn't matter anyway because I'm going to change it. But this is right. Okay. So I'm going to go into nesting here. I'm going to make a super unit. And a super unit, again, can be considered a function, but we're just giving it a name. So if I go in here and I edit the graph, let's say I want to give it a title first. I'll call this get vert axis. Sure. And I want to go to edit graph. So I can navigate between my two graphs here. You'll notice that I open up this new graph here. So where did my other one go? Well, I can just click on move player again, and if I want to go back into get vert axis, I can do that. You'll notice that this source here is embed versus macro. Embed just means that we can use this. We can only use this graph in this scene, in this particular sort of moment. Well, in this scene on this object, but macro means that we can reuse it more than once. So this is going to be embed because I'm not going to have more than one player. Okay, so when we create our input and output ports for this function, essentially, right? So we need to give it some information, and we need it to provide some information. So what it's going to take in, let's say, an axis name. It's going to take in our speed, and we're going to get the axis of that axis name. We're going to multiply it. We're going to get the, well, we need a z get or an x get, depending on what the axis is. And then we're going to add those two together, and then we are going to output that number, right, whatever that is. So, okay, let's take this step by step. So first thing is first, we need, we typically don't necessarily need a control port. That's actually not true. Sometimes you do, but in this case, I don't think we do, because again, this whole thing is reliant on these values in here, so we would have to run these things first in order for the rest of the code to run. So we'll just take in some value inputs right now. What did we say we needed? We needed an axis name, and we're going to create a new value input. It's going to take in a string. What else did we say we needed? We needed the speed. That's going to be a float. These labels, you can change the name as it appears here. So speed Amy, who's Amy? Speed AMT. And this is just because you can't create more than one type of key in the same graph. So if I wanted the output to also have a key name of speed, you can't do that. So if you just wanted to change the label here so it looks different, at least they give you that ability. Let's see, what else did we need? We needed that, and we needed, all right, so we needed the position. I don't know what to call that one. We can just call it pause. We'll just call it position for now. Yeah, fine, position. That's fine. This is going to be a float. We can say position component. I don't know. That's kind of yucky. That's, you know, it's fine. It's fine, David. So we don't want it to have a default value. We always want to pass in this value. So I added these input values, and you'll notice that my super unit, my new nested super unit, changed. Now it takes in an axis name, it takes in a speed amount, and it takes in a position. And obviously, if I change the output here, if I say this is going to be called new position, and it's going to be a float. If I go back in here, this is now going to give us some output here. Also, if you want to cancel making one of these lines, because this happens to me all the time, all you have to do is just right click anywhere. Cool. Help is wealth in 2020. So now we actually have to put the code that we have out here inside of this super unit. So again, this is just to make the overarching graph a bit cleaner. so we can separate our code out into little chunks, or little blocks, no pun intended. So I want to get the axis of the name, I want to set the speed, and I'm going to multiply. So honestly, I'm just going to take all this, duplicate. Oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. It's a bad idea. Let's actually just copy it. Let's go in here and let's paste. Ba-boom. Okay, cool. So it's going to take axis name. It is going to take the axis name. It's going to take that. It's going to, instead of taking speed z, it's going to just take a value. So we can actually delete this, and this multiply can just take in the two values. So instead of that variable that we had, we're going to pass that variable into our super unit. Oh, excuse me. And then finally, we want to take whatever our current position is, and we want to add that to this resulting number here. So it's kind of convoluted how we do this, how we reach this point, but we're basically doing the same thing. We're just breaking it up into smaller chunks. So we're no matter what axis it is, we're taking in. It can either be horizontal or vertical. This can either be speed x or speed z, and this can either be the x or the z of the current position. Oh, I should have called it current position. That's what I'll do. Say that. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so when you edit a key, oh no, you know what? I don't want to edit the key. That's not what I want to do. Current position. That's what we want. Right. And then the output is just going to be that new number. So why did we do all of this nonsense? Well, I'll show you. It's just to make things a bit cleaner. So let's see. I don't need this anymore. I am going to keep this here. We're also going to do it for this one. And I do need this actually. Speed z and that. And then I need string literal. I'll go to system, and then I'm going to make a string. I'm going to make a string literal, and this string is going to be, this would be vertical. So I am going to take this string, I'm going to pass it in here. Right. So now what that's doing is this is now going to act as the axis name. We're going to pass this axis name, get that axis, and then we're going to do all this math as usual, as we were doing before, but we're just cleaning things up a bit. So speed z is going to be our speed amount, and then our current position is going to be our z get. And we're going to take this number. Right now, this super unit is going to do all this math for us. Right, it's going to multiply, and then it's going to add after we multiply the speed and the axis. We're going to add that to our current position, and then we are going to get that new number. We're going to use that number here. I want to do the same thing for this one, so I can honestly just duplicate this. Move that up here. I can delete this. No! Absolutely. You know what? I'm just going to use the delete button. That's what they wanted me to do. So this one is going to take the current position. It's going to take speed x, and it's going to take, instead of the input here, it's going to take in, I'm just going to duplicate this. Oh, I love duplication. It is the love of my life, along with Nutella. Shout out to anyone else who loves Nutella and who will put Nutella on anything. Because that stuff is my livelihood. Horizontal, and we're going to take that new position, bring it in here. Lovely. Isn't that so much cleaner? Oh, God, look at that. Thing of beauty. Cool. So let's test this out, and we are now setting the position here. We have our one super unit that we're reusing, and we love recycling. We love it, love it, love it. What I could do is, like, so that I don't have like overlapping lines, I could probably move this back and then move this around. I'm not going to worry about that. I don't really worry about like overlapping or anything. So I can click out of full screen now, and I can run this. I can save it, and I'm going to take a look. I want to make sure my game does not maximize on play. Okay, cool. Because I want you guys to see the graph. The graph is actually pretty cool. It's got some animations going. It's got some stuff moving. It's pretty neat. So I'm geeking out over here. Oh, do you know what? Here's what I have to do. I have to actually add the flow, my move player, to my flow machine. Bam. There we go. Player movement, I'm just going to call it. That's what the machine is. Machine, again, is kind of like a code, and then move player, or I guess, yeah, machine is like a container for all your code, and a macro is kind of like a class. So you can make multiple macros, multiple classes, and add them to a flow machine component. Okay, cool. This one says sources macro, which is interesting because this one said that it was embed. So I'm not too sure why there was conflicting information there. In any case, we can save that, and now that we have attached our flow graph, now we see it come alive, hopefully. There we go, look at that, look at that, isn't that cool? That is neato. They added that in just for aesthetic effect. That's really interesting. So you see where the flow of information is going, which is just, I think it's so cool. And let's see if this actually works. Oh, okay. Oh dear God, no, please, no. Okay. So I don't want to move too quickly, but we do see that at least, oh my gosh, that we can move forward, backward, up and down, left and right as well. Well, we can't move up and down. I'm just using the up and down arrows. Cool, so that's working. We're going a bit fast, and maybe the floor is just not big enough. That's okay. So now I kind of want to add in some camera controls. So what I want to do is I actually want to add one flow to the camera and then one to the capsule. So the capsule, what it's going to do is it's going to move. Let me think about this actually. What I want the camera to be able to do is move in 360 degrees around the y-axis, but only a certain amount up or down on the x-axis. So I want the camera to be able to look up, maybe up 90 degrees and down 90 degrees, but I don't want it to move to look any further than that, because otherwise you're going to be breaking your neck, and you don't really do that in most video games anyway. I shouldn't generalize, but at least in real life, most people don't look behind them by going like this. I can't even do that right now. So let's make a new machine. So let's use, maybe we can add another macro, or maybe we can add to this this graph, but I think maybe just adding another machine would be ideal. Because I don't think you can add in another we'll just make another machine. It's fine, we'll get used to it. Flow machine, and we're gonna make a new one. Oh my goodness gracious, please. I'm just gonna make create bolt flow macro. That's so much easier. I don't want to have to save it in the directory because then I might lose it. And then I'll say rotate player. Cool, or I should say rotate player Y, because this one is going to be on the actual player object, whereas the camera is, or the other one is going to be on the camera. Okay, so I'm in here now. I'm going to go full screen again. So in this case, what I want to do, I know kind of how to accomplish this already, and it's based on, well, the pitch or the yaw, which are two terms that determine the amount of rotation on which axis, I should say. It's a measurement for rotation. So in this case, I think it was yaw that was on the y-axis. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's pitch. But in any case, what we want to do is we want to add the what was it? Nope. It was under events and life cycle and update. Don't really need to do anything in start as of right now. Don't really need to set any variables to anything. I just want this to work. Let's see. So in update, what do I want to do? I want to, and we can make it a coroutine as well. No kidding. That's great. I'm gonna need to rotate a certain amount. I'm gonna need a maximum angle as well. No, you know what? No, I don't. No, I do not. I just need the speed. I'll say speed h for horizontal rotation. I guess it doesn't really make sense because you can't. If you're rotating horizontally, you might be rotating along the x. But you guys get the point. Speed h is going to be a float, and it's going to be, I don't know, 5 again, because I'm a rebel. Going to make it 5. This is going to be how fast we rotate. And then we want to get the axis of mouse x, and we want to take that number, multiply it by our speed, and add it to our yaw, I guess you could call it. Sure, we'll make it. Oh, jeez. Yes, of course. I'll call it yaw, and this is just how much we've rotated on the y-axis. Again, I don't know if it's pitch or yaw. I'm forgetting. I'm just going to say yaw for now. So we're going to start it off at 0. And what we're going to do is we're going to constantly update yaw to take our mouse x into account and then update our y rotation accordingly. So I want the other rotations to stay the same. I don't want x or z to change from 0. I just want the y to change. So I am going to go to rotation. That in here, rotation can straighten out, rotation get set. I want to set the rotation. What do I want to set it to? I'm sure there's an overridden way to do this. I don't want to have to pass in a rotation. I'm going to see if I can maybe go into transform, see if there are any other ways. Not rotate, I want to, or maybe it is rotation. Let's see. Is it rotate? I think it might be. Transform. No, that's not root. No. Right. Parent. Okay. Is there no... I thought there was a way to get the rotation. Did we not just do that? Am I going crazy? Don't answer that. I think I saw it before. I thought it was under transform. Maybe it was under something else. Transform.rotation. Oh, okay. Transform. Yeah, literal, fine. Child, upset parent, translate. Is child of tag, right transform, look at, right transform, root, send message, hash, instantiate, right, rotate around, transform to parent, get enumerator, forward. Not rotation. I wonder why I couldn't get that before. Well, in any case. Oh no, you know what? It was rotate. Well, all of that was for naught. Wonderful. So we're going to rotate. We're not going to rotate along the x or the z. We're going to rotate along the y based on... hang on. I know this. Oh my gosh, no. I want to replace it and go transform.rotate rotate x, y, and z. That's what we want. Okay, so I want the x and the z to stay the same. I want the y angle, however, to be something else. So I'm going to just rotate the player along the y-axis based on the speed, and I'm going to add that to my... So I'm gonna make my units first. I'm just gonna get all this out of the way. I'm gonna get the input, and I'm gonna say get axis. I could also just type in get axis. Why don't I do that? There's an idea. Get axis, input.get axis. This is going to be mouse x. Cool. And I guess we could probably make the control go through here first. We're gonna get the axis, and then we'll do that. Okay. So mouse x. We're gonna take that and we're gonna multiply it by our speed. So I need math generic multiply, and I'm gonna get a variable. Oh no. Variables. I'm going to get speed h going to multiply these two together, and I want to add this to yaw. So I actually want to set yaw equal to this value first. So I want to add that to yaw. I want to say yaw basically plus equals this number. So I'm going to reassign yaw. So I'm going to say add units variables, set yaw, and yeah, I don't know. The control flow here doesn't exactly matter in this case. Set yaw to get yaw hands, get yaw plus this one. Add unit math generic add. We love it. Set variable equal to this one. So I want to take my yaw, I want to add these two, and then I'm going to set this equal to that. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to take this and set my yaw equal to that. And then what am I going to do? I am going to set this to y angle here. What is the problem? Now, if I have an error here, it'll let me know a sign is required but is never entered. A sign is required but is never entered. So I'm wondering if I need to do this instead. Nope. So I guess I'm just missing a step here, and that's fine. So it says, let me take a look at this. Assigned flow action execute. This variable has been assigned. Sign is required. Okay, it was never used. Okay, so I guess I have to go through here first. So I guess they do have some rules with the flow. That's fair enough. You know, I don't know all the rules, but I'll get there eventually. Notice also we don't have to use the input ports all the time, right? This one does in fact have an input port, but we don't have to use it. Same with this one. Any of the get variables or get access. It's just there in case you want to change this from a variable to some other variable name based on an if statement, right? So we're gonna update the transform based on that, and okay, we can also probably break this down and add a nested super unit for this, but we don't have to do that right now. This is a pretty small script. So we've added this. I don't know if it actually added it to the machine. Let's see. It did not, so let's do that. Let's find rotate player Y. Let's add that in here. Rotate play. Just call it Y axis. Rotate by Y axis. And let's try it out. Let's save it. Let's run it. See how we're doing here. Oh, mouse X is not set up. Huh. Should be. Hang on. Have I spelled it wrong? I very well may have spelled it wrong. No, it's not in here. It's under... Actually, yeah, it should be under big project settings. Alright, let me get out of play mode here. Let me go into my input window. Actually, no, it's not a window. Where is it? Oh, you know, actually, I forgot to mention, if you don't see the bolt menu bar here, you'll have to go into tools and then click install bolt. Even if you download the package, you do have to click install bolt first, and then it'll install everything for you, and then you can use it. Sorry, I totally forgot to include that at the beginning. Yeah, let's find this input tab. So I know it's around here somewhere. Is it project settings? It is. Input manager. Axes. I swear I thought that mouse X was... It was. Okay. So did I spell it? Oh, I did. Ah, it's always the small things in life that make you crazy. Cool. Let's try that, huh? Yeah, so it even tells us where the error went. Where the error came from, I should say. So that's cool. Yeah, let me see this little, whoa, wowee. Okay, so we do have to set the rotation then. Right, well, good thing now we know how to do that. So instead of transform.rotate, I'm just going to say replace with transform rotation. I'm going to set it. And yes, I understand. We're going to get rid of that. We're going to get rid of that. And it needs to take in a quaternion. I swear there was an overridden version of this. Transform dot rotation. Rotation. Okay, maybe not. Or maybe I just didn't do this correctly. That's also entirely possible. Set it to set the y to the yeah, I know that much. What would make sense actually? If this was a -1, we don't want it to constantly change it actually. What we only want is we want to only change it as we move. So as we change this value, do we have to maybe reset yaw back to 0? No, that wouldn't make much sense. I'm wondering because I do remember. You know what? I'm gonna take a look because I think I was working on this before in player rotate. What was I doing? Let's go in here and what were we doing? We're clamping it. Fine. Took the current angle, multiplied it, the axis name by the mouse speed. Fine, and added those two, right? Yeah, and then clamped it. It's weird. So I'm basically doing the same thing here. I do have a max angle, but that's not really the problem. We're setting yaw equal to that value. So this is kind of weird. Okay. Oh, we're setting the Euler angles, eh? Okay. Oh, we could try that. Oh, yeah, because we have to. Oh my gosh. This is what happens. I'm so out of practice. Yeah. So Euler angles are different from just rotating, setting the rotation. Right? These are different in different units. So let's get this going. So I want to replace Euler angles. Transform dot Euler angles set. Wonderful. I'm gonna make a new vector 3. Oh no, oops, sorry. Where is this found actually? Vector 3 in Unity Engine. Okay, cool. New vector 3 x, y, z, and we're gonna set the x to 0. We're gonna set the y to our yaw. Okay, and then we're gonna take that, we're gonna pass that in here, and then this should be setting that, and this will come here, and that'll do that, and this will all hopefully work out, and we'll all be one happy family once again. Let's try this out. Save that up. And call me Shirley. Okay, cool. So it's working. So now we just have to set the well, actually, oh, did I set the local? I think I might have set the loco. Huh. Yeah. So I set. Hang on. So I set the Euler angles, but it doesn't seem to actually be rotating the player. Let me take a look at this. So, oh, it is. So then I'm not sure why it's not. Oh, because I'm moving it based on the global z. I'm setting the position, not the local position. Let's try changing that up because I want to be able to move based on if I rotate to the left and then move forward. I want to move in that direction that I'm facing now. So instead of transform position set, I'm going to say transform local position. Local position set. And it's nice because you can just replace all this. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely? Let's try this out. Let's see if maybe this will take the local transform forward into account instead of... nope. Okay. Still doing that. Because what I'm wondering is the player actually rotating? Guess not. Huh, right. Oh, okay, yeah, so we're setting... Well, no, actually, oh, well, okay, I guess we can't do that because the mouse isn't on the screen, so if we're constantly setting the rotation, then that's not going to work. Interesting. So we're technically just not updating the actual rotation of the player, but somehow we're still rotating. Well, I guess the question is, how are we moving? And we're setting the position. Hang on, did I open the wrong one? I very well may have. Oh, I did. That's what I get. That's what I get. I'm going to replace this with loco position. Let's try that. Let's give that a holler. Run this and do that. And run that and do this. Okay, let's see here. Nope. Still trying to move forward and still not setting it. So now what I'm wondering is if I rotate, I'm setting the position for this new vector 3. I'm getting the y, the x, and the z. So I'm getting the position, right, instead of the local position, so maybe I can replace this with local position as well. I mean, technically the local position is right now the same as the position, but I don't know if maybe local position takes in the local transform axes instead of the global transform axes. So we'll try it out. We'll take a gander. Nope. Okay. What I need to do is I need to take that number, or I need to take this vector rather, and multiply it by another given vector. Okay. So what I need to do, yeah, so I'm getting the x position. I'm really just getting the position here. I'm not, I have to multiply it by something, by the transform dot right, transform dot forward, transform dot up. Let's try it out, you know, why not? So let's see, if I try to no, math. I want to multiply vector 3 and say multiply a and b. I'm going to take this one, and sorry, this is a bit zoomed out here. I'm going to take this one. I'm going to remove this for now and move this out just a bit more. I'm going to take this and multiply it by the z, and then multiply that by the x. Okay, so I need transform dot forward get right, multiply these two, and I'm going to take this and I'm going to multiply it maybe by the same idea, but with by the x instead. And I'll do transform dot right Is that right? Well, let's find out. Let's just try it out. Why not? Oh no. Oh no. Oh, what have we done? We have done something horribly, horribly wrong. That's okay. Maybe I want to multiply these separately. Let's try that out. Instead of doing that, we can take that. We can... Oh! Oh no. Oh no. I'm going to take that and do that. I'll move this around. So I want to get the x. Oh! Jeez. That's why. Oh no, that's actually fine. I'm taking the vector, multiplying it by forward, multiplying it by the x, and then I want to take these and then add them together. So I'm going to do one more, vector 3 math, and add these two together. And then, oh boy, this is getting messy. I'm going to have to make a super unit for this very soon, but I just want to test this out. I want to see if this is actually, if my math is right, or if I'm just doing something horribly wrong, in which case I think I might give up the ghost. And yep, okay, cool, try something else. So, you seem to be, whoa, where on earth did you go? Where have you, oh my goodness. Yeah, I'm definitely overthinking this, I think. So what was happening before was we were, well, we took this and brought that there. Originally, we were getting, local position and position right now are basically the same thing, because the local position is the global position. What we want to do is, I want to set the rotation, and I want to be able to move by my transform.forward. So, maybe I need to, this is going to be a float, so maybe I need to multiply this number, and I want to multiply it by transform.right.x. So maybe I can do that. I can add a unit, I can do math, I can multiply, nope, multiply, and take this one, and write this one, and I'll multiply it by the get of my transform.right get, and then I want to get the x get of that, do vector 3 x get of this. This is going to get a bit messy, but that's alright. We don't have much time left, so I just want to see if I can at least get this to work. This is how I work. This is just what I do. I'll multiply those two together, and okay, let's try that. And then, oh wait, no, but that's gonna, that's definitely gonna mess things up. But we'll try it out anyway. Why not? You can select multiple blocks if you don't want to have to do the whole like click and drag selecting. You can just select multiple by holding the control button and then clicking whichever ones you want to select. This one is going to be, instead of right, this is going to be transform.forward get. This is going to be the z get, vector 3 z get, z gate. And then this is going to take in, instead of that, it's going to go in here, and that'll replace that. And then we'll see maybe if that'll do it, if multiplying it by the local. So now it seems to be just moving. Oh my goodness gracious. What on earth happened there? I hope I wasn't the only one who saw that. Oh, okay, so if you hold it enough, it still goes in the same direction. Alright, well, at least I tried. That's alright. It takes some getting used to. Haven't done this vector stuff in a while. But that is no excuse. I should brush up on my vector math and understand how we can make it move by its local transform instead of by the global transform. So all that's happening is these arrows aren't changing, even though we're rotating, right? Even though we're rotating based on the mouse's x, or the mouse x really. We are changing the Euler angles, but we're not. The rotation is updating on the player, but for some reason, when we try to move forward, or to the left or to the right, it always moves in the same direction instead of taking the player's current rotation into account. We can also rename this if we wanted to. Actually, I think I might do that. I'll just go in here and I'll go full screen. I want to change this instead of get per axis. This is get axis. You can always change the names of your graphs and your super units if you want to. God, this is so frustrating because I want to get it. I know I want to get it, and I know that I've done it before. I can get it. Just can't think of it right now. Because again, what we want to do, I'm just going to keep reiterating until something pops in my head, because that's usually how it happens. You get a little like light bulb, or a little, well, for me, a little like smoke bomb or something pops off in your head. So we want to move the player not by the global axis, not by the global x, y, or z axis, but by its local x, y, or z axis. So we are getting our local position, our x, y, and z position, and then we want to, we want to set the same position. This is again the same as setting our position. Local position right now, same as setting the transform position. Transform the position set, right? So what we're doing is we are getting the axis, and we're multiplying it by some amount, and then we're adding that to our current position, right? But oh, hang on. Well, no, I think maybe I would have to do this in C# if I wanna see. I'm just more used to scripting in general, but it seems like we are a bit over time at this point. I believe we're a couple minutes late, but usually we go on for about an hour, and then we leave some extra time at the end because something goes awry, and then we gotta go fix it, gotta go debug and all that, right? But yeah, so this was a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of promise for this coding visual scripting system. Very similar to, if anybody used Unreal before, the Unreal Engine 4, the blueprint system. You'll hear that a lot. There are a lot of similarities between the two systems. In this case, it's near identical. There are a few catches that are are Unity specific, obviously. But there are a whole bunch of blocks that you can play around with, a whole bunch of units. There are things where you can wait. You don't need coroutines. You can just wait a certain amount of time inside of the update. You can also, add in, let's say, control blocks, and you can do a branch. So you can do a branch flow, right? Like a kind of a switch. If this is true, then do this. But if it's false, do something else. You have caching data. You have try catch. Right, we have a select and a switch. So select some value, like change the example on the website was change the color of an object based on some number, and you can do that for multiple objects. So these are just different examples of all the different units that you can access in here. There are tons, and you can always add more as well. But that is going to be it from me. So at least we got the movement to work. We didn't necessarily get the rotating and moving forward at the same time working. But basically what we do is if we wanted to make the player look up or down, we would change this rotate graph from rotating along the player's y-axis. We change this to mouse y. We'd probably change this to pitch. And then we would just change the x in this vector 3, and we'd set the Euler angles to this x here instead of the y. That's basically the only difference that we'd have to make. So maybe we could change this up a bit and add in sort of an if statement or a branch, right? We would make this vector 3 and change the y if we were on the player, or change the x if we were on the camera, things like that. So yeah, like I say, that's going to be it for me. Be sure to like and subscribe, and maybe comment if you have an idea for some project that you want us to do, or if you just want to talk, say hi, say hey, you made a mistake here, or hey, I really liked how you did that. You know, we love feedback. We're always growing. Be sure to check out all the other content that's on the channel, and I will see you guys in another couple of weeks. Maybe I'll do the Unreal Blueprint engine and do a little comparison. Maybe I'll continue with working on bolts, and who knows, maybe if you guys give me a suggestion, I'll take that into consideration, and I'll start working on some project that you guys give me. But otherwise, hope you guys are doing well, and hope you stay well. Be safe, and I will see you soon. All right, see you.